What are the elements of the Phoenix proposal that are innovative? The most radical development is a 2-year rather than 3-year BSc degree. Now, that might not sound very radical, as we're here in Buckingham, where the two-year degree is the norm. But when we started out on this process over 2 years ago, we were not aware of Buckingham, and certainly a 2-year degree was something that was quite innovative. So we still claim that as an innovation, although other universities, traditional state universities, are beginning to follow that pattern. Currently, degree courses have 9 terms of no more than 10 weeks each, spread over 3 years. Of those 90 weeks, several are between exams and getting results and do not have any educational purpose. We propose 2 years with a total of 80 weeks in college. Even 43 weeks per year is less than a normal working year, and I'm sure many of you know that. And so we can see no reason why students should not be able to cope with this level of effort, especially as they will not enjoy long vacations when they enter the workforce. Secondly, we will continue with the course unit system, but the courses will be conducted sequentially rather than simultaneously. So people will study bacteriology for 2 weeks, environmental economics for 2 weeks, and then something else for 2 weeks, rather than doing 9 to 10 in the morning, 11 to 12 in the morning, and practicals in the afternoon. So this system will enable the new Wye College to employ tutors from outside the college to conduct course units. This has two advantages. Firstly, that experts in their subjects can be employed, and secondly, there will be no need to maintain full-time academics on the payroll for every course offered, hence addressing the overheads issue. This fits into the proposed employment policy of minimising the number of staff, both academics and support staff, on the payroll who cannot be fully engaged on work that creates income. Another more controversial innovation will be that the course syllabuses will be defined by examination questions that will be published. Questions for exams will be chosen at random from the list. This could allow exams and retakes to be taken outside the traditional period for exams. Why is it proposed that the new Wye should be an independent university and not part of the state sector? Basically, we had no other choice. Initially, we did have the intention of re-establishing Wye College as a state-funded university and as part of London University. But HEFCE placed a hurdle in front of us that we could not surmount. So the only alternative was to consider re-establishing Wye as an independent, i.e. self-funded university like the University of Buckingham here. In hindsight, this decision appears to have been fortuitous, as the funding crisis facing higher education would have made establishing the new Wye as a state-funded university that much more difficult. We are grateful that the University of Buckingham has offered to support us in our initiative, and it is for that reason, and at their kind invitation, thank you, Martin, please pass our thanks to the Vice-Chancellor. Sorry, I lost my place. That we are launching our prospectus here. Will students be put off from studying at a small college in a rural location? It was recognised when Wye's predecessor joined London University in 1898 that it will be incongruous for a university college specialising in the rural sector to be located in an urban situation, and this remains equally true today. True, some students nowadays expect a metropolitan social life on their doorsteps. Although Wye will never be able to provide exactly that, the flesh spots of Canterbury, Kent's University of Town, are only a short distance away. How about research, a very important component of traditional universities? Well, one disadvantage of not being funded by HEFCE is that independent universities do not have access to state funding. It will therefore be essential for the new college to actively pursue near-market type research and development commissions from the rural industries and the multilateral aid agencies. at the Overseas Development Institute and the International Institute for Environmental Development are well-renowned organisations that carry out very interesting and worthwhile research funded in this way, and so really this does not hold any fear for us. The prospectus mentions a wide range of potential areas for research, but it also recognises that the college's research portfolio will largely be determined by outside forces. Having said that, we have identified that it could have a comparative advantage in developing biomass as a renewable energy source, with a combination of the farm, the laboratories, and possible development sites on the brownfield sites within the farm. What are the next steps we're going to take in the process of re-establishing Wye College? The first is to liaise with Imperial College with regard to having access to the campus and farm. And for those of you who do not have any idea of the campus and never seen it, there's some other views on the front page there. You see it's a combination of very old and beautiful buildings, some dating back to 1447, and much newer buildings, the Kemp Centre that I've mentioned, but also some of the accommodation blocks are much newer than that. So it's a combination of old and new. At the moment, Imperial College's policy is to focus on maximising their income from the campus. However, in doing so, they have overlooked the moral and legal obligations they took up on under the Imperial College Act of 1999. Another aspect that we will have to undertake is to raise funds to initiate the college. On the basis that Imperial College are prepared to hand the campus over to the new college, our preliminary calculations, which are in Chapter 9 and the appendices of our prospectus, suggest that we will need about £3 to £4 million. The financial calculations here do indicate that once the college is up and running, it could no doubt pay its own way. But in the period up to that point, we have identified a deficit. There will be costs involved in bringing the campus back into usable condition. Much of it hasn't been used for several years even now, and needs more than just a lick of paint. We will also need to employ staff to develop a university and course structure, as well as conduct an awareness campaign to make students and teachers aware of our existence. Our back-of-envelope calculations reckon this is likely to be somewhere between 3 and 4 million, but don't hold me to that number because it's just a back-of-envelope calculation. Well, perhaps not even that, I guess. It will also need funds to see it through the early years, when it is inevitable that it will be operating at less than full student capacity, and that is true of any business. So what is the purpose of this prospectus? Until now, we've only communicated our efforts with members of Phoenix Wye College, the alumni of Wye College, and the people of the village of Wye through their village website. And I'm pleased that the editor of that particular site has been able to join us today. Now that we have something positive to say, and especially with regard to our partnership with the University of Buckingham, we feel that it is appropriate to open our plans to public view. Through this exercise, we hope to gauge where our support is likely to come from. Primarily political support, but not forgetting the type of support that comes in the form of a cheque containing several notes. Over the summer, we will be conducting a consultation exercise which will be masterminded by Penny Castle, and she would welcome constructive comments from yourselves, our members, Wye College alumni, and indeed anyone else who feels moved to do so. We know that this prospectus is not the finished modus operandi for the new Wye College, and so in the autumn we will be commissioning a feasibility study into the financial and educational viability of this project. Thank you for being so patient. I'll now ask John Clark, who is our liaison person at Buckingham College, to say a few words